The first time Liana Ekpo looked at Darius Nkem differently. She was barely 12 while he had just turned 18. He was the older boy next door, tall, agile, brimming with confidence, the kind everyone noticed the moment he stepped onto the neighborhood football field. To their small community, he was simply a polite, humble teenager with enormous potential. But to Liana, he was the center of every private fantasy her youthful heart dared to weave. From her window, she would watch him pass a ball around the compound, laughter tumbling out as he teased his younger sister Naya. The way he moved, so unaware of his own charm, filled her with a strange flutter in her chest. At 12, her life revolved around books, fairy tales, and hidden dreams where she always played the heroine, and Darius, without ever knowing, was the hero. She never missed his matches, sneaking away with her homework tucked under her arm, pretending to study while her eyes stayed locked on him. Her notebooks bore his name in curly letters, always hidden from her mother's watchful eyes. Of course, to Darius she was nothing more than Naya's quiet friend, the shy girl with glasses who baked cookies and waved awkwardly before retreating. He thought she was sweet, but he hardly paid attention. At 18, his focus lay elsewhere: university admissions, athletic scholarships, the allure of American stadiums and the dream of joining the NFL. Lagos was home, but glossy brochures and visiting scouts dangled promises too shiny to ignore. Yet, on quiet nights, he sometimes glimpsed Liana bent over her books, her face softly lit by a desk lamp. Once he even told Naya, "That friend of yours is going places. She studies like she's got the world to change." But still, he never imagined her in his future. Her beauty was subtle, the kind that lingered unnoticed until absence made it impossible to forget. When his scholarship letter arrived, the whole neighborhood erupted in celebration. Music, hugs, and shouts of pride filled the compound. Darius, the boy from Ejigunle, was heading to the United States. At the back of the crowd, Liana clutched a handmade card, her hands trembling. She longed to say, "I'll miss you or don't forget me." But before she found the courage, the crowd swept him away. Later that night, she slipped the card into his family's mailbox. On it was a sketch of a football and a few simple words: "Congratulations. You'll do great things." No name, no confession, just a quiet prayer that he might one day remember the girl who believed in him before the world ever did. When Darius boarded the plane, something inside her cracked. She didn't eat for days, brushing off her mother's worry with excuses. She buried her sorrow beneath schoolwork and rose above it with sheer determination. Soon she was winning scholarships of her own, her name whispered by teachers with admiration. Yet she still peeked at his Facebook photos, Darius laughing with teammates, posing with cheerleaders, training in massive stadiums. Each image pricked her heart like a thorn. By 16, Liana had transformed. The glasses were gone. Her once awkward limbs now moved with confidence. She chased a future in finance, her professors calling her the next Dangote in skirts. But in the quiet of her modest apartment, she still scrolled through posts of Darius, the boy who once lived a gate away but now belonged to another world. And then came the wedding. His bride, Sola, was tall, elegant, dazzling, the kind of woman who filled magazine covers and trends. Their daughters, Myra and Lonnie, became darlings of social media. Liana watched it all from afar, clutching her solitude between financial reports and fleeting dates that never pierced her guarded heart. She convinced herself she had moved on, but deep inside, a piece of her remained tethered to the boy she had loved too quietly. 8 years later, the name came back to her casually, over breakfast. "Did you hear?" her mother said. "Darius Nkem has returned. He's back at his father's house with his daughters." Liana's spoon slipped, clattering against the bowl. Meanwhile, outside his father's compound, Darius sat on a wooden bench he'd sprawled across countless times as a restless teenager. The Lagos heat pressed down heavily, yet he welcomed it. For once, he wasn't the NFL star, the adored athlete, or the golden boy. He was simply a man undone. His career had slowed, his marriage had collapsed, and his heart carried cracks too deep to mend. Sola had left him for another player, younger and brighter, still basking in Miami mansions and magazine spreads. She hadn't even fought for custody of their daughters. Now Myra and Lonnie were his entire world, the anchors keeping him afloat. He adored them, yet even they couldn't always silence the feeling of failure that clung to him like damp clothes. He hadn't chosen to return. His father's weary voice had summoned him home. "Come back, son. Let the girls know their roots." So he came, for family, for the hope of starting anew. That's when he saw her. Liana Ekpo stepped out of the house next door, her pastel blouse tucked neatly into slacks, her curls pinned into a bun. Graceful, understated, yet commanding. For a moment, Darius froze. Could that truly be the same quiet girl with glasses? He stood awkwardly, palms sweaty, and raised a stiff wave. She answered with polite composure, but her steps faltered just slightly. Later that night, with his daughters asleep and his father snoring softly, Darius scrolled through Instagram. It didn't take long to find her page. Her feed brimmed with brunches, business talks, book launches, snapshots of a life carved by discipline and quiet brilliance. She looked radiant. Alone, yes, but undeniably radiant. No husband. No children. Just her. His fingers hovered over the message button, then retreated. What could he possibly offer? He was a man patched together by regrets and responsibilities. She deserved more. What he didn't know was that Liana had seen him, too. From her window, just as she had as a child, she watched him tuck Lonnie gently into bed. He looked older now, heavier with burdens, yet still achingly beautiful in his tenderness. For years she had prepared herself never to feel anything again for him. But seeing him stripped of glamour, humbled and human, something stirred inside her. Not love, not yet, but possibility. That night, neither of them slept soundly. The days that followed blurred into routines. Darius tried to steady himself as a single father. Laundry lines replaced stadium lights, school runs stood in for cheering fans. He carried weariness in his shoulders, but every laugh from Myra and Lonnie reminded him of his purpose. Liana, too, tried burying herself in work, financial reports, audits, deadlines. But no balance sheet could mute the quiet flutter in her chest when she saw him sweeping the yard, folding clothes, or fixing bicycle chains. He wasn't the dazzling athlete she remembered, but something more real, a father, a son, a man rebuilding brick by brick. One afternoon fate intervened. She juggled grocery bags in a parking lot when she heard his voice. Need a hand? Turning, she found him standing there in joggers and a simple cap. Her heart skipped. He didn't wait for permission. He gently lifted the heaviest bag into her car trunk. At least let me help. Their exchange was simple, yet charged. He asked, almost shyly, "You're Liana, right?" She nodded, teasing back. "And you're Darius." His laugh rang warm, familiar. "I wasn't sure you'd remember me." Her reflex betrayed her. "I remembered you since I was 12. Embarrassed, she quickly added, "I mean, you and Nia were impossible to forget, always so loud." They lingered longer than either expected. He praised her career, recalling how focused she had always been. She, in turn, complimented his daughters. For a moment, silence settled, not awkward, but full. As she prepared to leave, he hesitated. "Would it be strange if I said I'd like to talk properly sometime?" Her answer was quiet but steady. Not strange at all. Driving away, her fingers trembled on the wheel. He was no longer just a dream. He was here, and this time, he was looking back. A week later, when his father took the girls to visit relatives, Darius sat under the old mango tree, restless. The quiet was too loud without Myra's laughter or Lonnie's tugging hand. His thoughts circled back to Liana. Then her voice broke the silence. "Mind if I join you?" She stood nearby in a soft brown dress, a small Bible in her hand. He motioned for her to sit. For a while, neither spoke. Finally, he sighed. "I think I forgot how to breathe for myself." She turned. "What do you mean?" For 8 years, everything was scheduled. Games, travel, appearances. Even when life crumbled, there was always somewhere to be. Now, with nothing but time, I don't know who I am without the noise. Her response cut through him. "It's okay to bleed, Darius." He blinked, startled. "I'm supposed to be strong." "Says who?" she asked gently. And so he shared the truth, Sola's betrayal, her indifference, her departure. He admitted his exhaustion, his shame, his fear. Liana listened quietly, resisting the urge to reach for him but letting her presence be enough. Finally, she said softly, "You mourn what you lost. You honor the love you gave. And then you let it go." The afternoon heat pressed around them, but their silence was alive with unspoken understanding. When she asked, "Ever loved someone who never knew it?" he whispered, "Yes." Her small smile answered, "Me too." In that moment, something fragile but real was born. He reached for her hand, not out of desire, but need. "I'm not ready," he confessed. "I'm not asking for anything," she replied. "I'm just here." For the first time in years, Darius didn't feel broken. He felt seen. Storms came and went, as they always did in Lagos, loud, drenching, relentless. During one particularly wild evening, Darius texted across the compound, "You okay? I can see your light from here." She smiled, replying, dry and warm. "The girls?" He answered, "Safe, though Myra thinks Thunder is a lion." Liana teased back, "Tell her it's just the sky playing drums." The ease between them grew with every word. Soon, dinners followed. Small gestures. Myra's handmade card calling her Auntie Liana. Quiet afternoons under the mango tree. Little by little, she became part of their rhythm, not by declaration, but by presence. 6 months passed. The compound felt different now. The walls were repainted. Laughter filled the yard each evening. Even when Sola returned briefly with apologies and Instagram captions, the girls clung to their father without hesitation. Through it all, Liana never claimed Darius, never demanded labels. She simply stayed, with tea, with kindness, with truth. And Darius, once chasing fame and then survival, finally chose peace. One Sunday, he crossed the yard holding a small box. Liana sat on her steps, book in hand, glasses perched lightly on her nose, the last trace of the girl she once was. He stopped in front of her, his voice unsteady. "I don't have a speech. Just a heart that's whole again. And I want to give it to the one who waited, even when she wasn't seen." She closed her book slowly. He opened the box, not a ring, but a delicate silver bracelet engraved with 2 words, "Still here." He fastened it onto her wrist. She looked up, eyes brimming. "Good," she whispered, standing to meet him. "Because I've already made space for you." Under the mango tree, where their story had quietly restarted, the wind stirred through the leaves as if it too had been waiting for this moment. Not a perfect ending, just a real one, where love returned not with noise, but with grace, and chose to stay.